economic principles for pharmaceutical development and...
All right, the United States has the largest market for biopharmaceuticals, which accounts for around 1/3 of the global drug market. Through changes in policies in generic manufacturing, the cost of prescription drugs in the United States can become more affordable while maintaining pharmaceutical research and development.
The purpose of this presentation is to explain how does the development of drugs affect the market and availability to patients, as well as what important factors influence the market and development of a drug. Other points to touch on in this presentation include how market price of a drug is determined and what that cost is going to present itself to the patient. And then we also touch upon what regulations are involved in market and development of drugs. Developing a drug. Pharmaceutical development has many barriers to entry and usually begins with a demand for a drug that provides or improves treatment for a certain disease state. The next obstacle that drug companies must overcome is the cost and funding needed to cover the cost of production for a specific drug. Market price is usually determined by equilibrium between supply and demand and determines the market price of the drug. Sometimes a drug monopoly is created when a pharmaceutical manufacturing company is able to produce medication that doesn't have an exact substitute product or a patent protects from generic manufacturing. These factors are important to pharmacy because each individual in the healthcare field receives treatment tailored to their specific demands and disease states. Competition between drug manufacturers, monopolies, and generic product availability can affect the supply and demand of drugs and change the cost reflected to patients. Also, this is important because pharmacists are required to educate patients on the cost of their medications, which can be usually improved by substituting a brand name medication for a generic manufacturer.
Third-party insurers are utilized by patients and allow them to share the cost of medications and products they receive from healthcare organizations. Insurance companies will usually share the cost of medications through the use of coinsurance and deductibles. Coinsurance makes the patient pay a specific percentage of the medical expenses he or she possesses, and the insurance company pays the remaining amount. Deductibles are fixed dollar amounts that the patient must pay each year before the insurance company starts paying the cost of the medication. The principles of supply and demand are also correlated with insurance coverage and can be corresponded to changes in the drug market. In 2010, the Federal Affordable Care Act was signed, and it included numerous provisions and expanded the access to affordable health insurance coverage to many people. This comprehensive health care reform law expanded the Medicaid program and provided consumer subsidies to adults below the poverty level. This is important to pharmacists because the Affordable Care Act is expected to continue reducing the number of individuals who are uninsured, and it is important for future healthcare professionals to promote and increase the access of healthcare to individuals who are otherwise would not maintain medical services. This is also important to pharmacists because pharmacists often coordinates the cost of medication to the patient and can help reduce the price of the drug.
FDA and government regulation is usually given to protect and make sure that drugs are safe for consumers to use. In addition, protection and regulation of the government is provided through the use of patents for pharmaceutical companies, as well as controlling market price for consumers. Aid in drug development is also given through the NIH and DARPA and allows for development of drugs that have slow-paced development to speed up and become drugs available on the market much quicker.
Here is a summary of what we learned today. Here are our resources that we used today.